us up. Those times when we were friendless and he stuck closer than a brother. Those times when our heart was broken and he put it back together again. When our joy was gone and he gave us a song in the night. When we didn't know where to turn, he led the way. I thank God today that we can say like verse 6, blessed be the Lord who has not given us prey to their teeth. The enemy could have devoured us. We could have been left with nothing. The devil could have taken all we had. All our hopes and dreams could have been totally gone. But God did not give us up. He was for us. And Romans 8:31 says, if God be for us, who can be against? So as we look at verse 7, we see something interesting today. It says, our soul is delivered as a bird out of the trap of the bait layers. The trap is destroyed and we are saved. Follow this picture with me. And so we are all portrayed as a wayward bird that sees some bait and reaches out for it. And all of a sudden we're caught in a trap and we can't get out. And so when we look back over our lives, we realize that we have not been perfect. But we have a God who never did leave us nor forsake us. And he didn't give up on us. He didn't throw in the towel on our lives. He is slow to anger and he gives a lot of mercy. And I'm so glad that he lifted me out of the miry clay of my mistakes. He set me free, church. He set me free. We can tell the bait layer, the enemy of our soul, the devil, that the God has set us free by his blood. By his power we are free. Whom the Son sets free is free indeed. So when we and you are looking back, never forget to look up. When you're looking forward, never forget to look up. Our help is in the name of the Lord who made the heaven and earth. And see, church, as we face the future that is ahead of us, there is only one thing we should fear. And that is forgetting where our help comes from. Although we've come a long way, and we are alive today to see history made in our community. The first African-American president of the United States, the most wealthiest country that there is. A black president. We have a lot to be thankful for. And it is because of what we've been through that got us to this day. The only problem we have is when we forget where our help comes from. Looking back over our lives, we should never believe that our help came from our bank account. Our help didn't come from where we live or what we drive. Our help didn't come from the schools that we went to. Our help didn't come from the Democrats or the Republicans. Our help didn't come from a bottle of alcohol or some pills. Our help did not come from any man or any woman. Our help didn't come from who or what we know. That's right. No, our help came from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. We made it because he took us through our troubles. We made it because when the going got tough, God got tougher. We made it because for every problem, he was the problem solver. We made it because of every rushing water in our lives, he was a bridge over troubled water. We made it because for every heartache that we had, he was a heart fixer. We made it because every time we fell, he picked us up. Every time we were knocked down, he told us to get back up again. Every time we failed, he covered us with his victory. We made it because our help came from the Lord. So now the past may be over, and we can all breathe a collective sigh of relief. But let me tell you that the future is one in which we don't know what's ahead. It's like walking into a dark alley where you know trouble will be waiting for you. But if you're wise, you don't go in church.